So this video is going to do a bit of a recap on what you did at National 5. So filling in one of these diagrams down here based on a table of information that we call a precedence table, okay? With this column here, the preceding task column, being really helpful for deciding the order in which these tasks are being taken. All right. So what we would do is we would look for the task that has nothing before it, because that must mean it comes first. So task E is going to go here. Now task E takes 5 minutes, so I'm just also going to write that time in. All right. After task E, there must be 2 tasks that need done. So task E has just happened, so I'm going to look for that. So it's here and here. So that's C and G. Now, it doesn't matter what way round C and G go because they both then feed into one single task. So we don't really need to consider that. So 8 minutes in C and 10 minutes in G. So now I'm looking for C and G to just have happened. But that doesn't appear as C and G. So now I would look for, well, E has also happened. So if I go here, both C and E must have happened to allow B to happen. So B is going to go next. And that takes 15 minutes. B has just happened, so the next task must be A. That takes 3 minutes. Now, after A, I'm looking for 3 tasks. So I can see 3 lots of G and A have happened, and that makes sense because G and A have both happened to feed into that 3 there. So D, F and H. So D was 10 minutes, F is 15 minutes and H is 30 minutes. And then lastly, D, F and H feed into I. And that takes 5 minutes. Okay. So getting the tasks in order was kind of half the battle at Nat 5. The rest of it was working out how long this task would take. Okay. So we would go through each section and find that the longest amount of time to complete the task. So this part here is 5 minutes, and I would end up going through G to take 10 minutes. Okay, the reason it's 10 and not 8 is because while C is happening and it takes 8 minutes, G is also happening, but it takes longer. So if I only considered the 8 minutes, then this whole project would be 2 minutes behind because of that. So we've got to go 5 plus 10 plus 15 plus 3. Now when we get to here, I've got something that takes 10, something that takes 15, and something that takes 30, all happening at the same time. So I'm going to go through my 30-minute window and then on to 5 minutes. Okay, so 5 plus 10 is 15, add 15 is 30, 60, 68 minutes is how long this would take. Okay, so we can do that again. And this one has something else to kind of consider as we go through this. All right, so again, when I'm starting off my precedence, using my precedence table, I'm looking for the one that has nothing before it. So I've got 2 tasks with nothing before it, so C and D. And again, this doesn't matter the order because they both feed into one task. So C takes 2 hours and this takes 15 hours. So C and D have both just happened. So I don't see C and D, but D is here. So H must come next, and that takes 6 hours. After H must be E, and that takes 5 hours. So E feeds into 2 tasks. I can see that. E has just happened, so that allows A and I to happen. But I don't know where to put A and I at this moment in time, because if I put A here and I here, I need to figure out if something else goes here after it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a little bit of rough working out of the side. So I've got A and I. So I'm just going to follow my A path through first. So A has just happened, and that would give me G. G has just happened, but I've got G and an I. So it makes sense, actually, that A does go at the top and I goes at the bottom, because G and I will then feed into one task, and my A and G or 2 tasks in a row, and this is just 1 task before it feeds in. Okay, so task A is 8 hours, task G is 20, and task I is also 20. So after G and I goes F for 10 hours, and then after F is B for 3 hours. Okay, so again, we would then use our chart to determine the longest amount of time. So when C and D are both happening, I've got to go with 15. That goes into 6 and 5. Now I've got 2 routes that I can go. So I can either go through I on its own, down here, or I can go through A and G up at the top, which is the one that I'm going to go through because that takes 28 hours, whereas I only takes 20 hours. And then that feeds into the rest. Okay, so 15 plus 6 plus 5, so 26. 36, 46, 54, 64, 67 hours for this one. All right, and that's all that was expected of you at National 5.